Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed, but I would like to acknowledge distinguished delegates and sisters and a few brothers, one and all. FGM, and I note that my fellow South Australian, Khadija Blah, will be speaking shortly on that. I tell you, there's no yuck factor when she's around. Wait till you've got a surprise coming. You know, that there was a danger in some countries thinking they were better developed. The fact that in Australia, do you know what? There are more men called Peter running companies. I was proud to represent a feminist agenda. I think that's so important. I've never been afraid of the F word, I can tell you that. Yet an extra year of education beyond the average, we know, it boosts
some of the success stories about women in decision making in Tonga right now is that we are making headway in terms of women in the civil service sector working for government in CEO positions. So as of this year, for the first time in Tonga's history, we have almost 50% women in those leading positions in senior CEO, making key decisions, you know, from day to day with their ministries. Some of the challenges that we're facing around the political spectrum, we're still struggling to get women into Parliament. We had our first ever democratic reforms in 2010. So since post 2010 we've had 2 general elections and we've had no woman elected into Parliament. So it seems as if we're going backwards in terms of women's political representation, and even in the local level governance structures we're struggling to get women in.
We as women in this forum, we believe we are the brains of the head of state that are coming, and we want to influence the decision to say, can they take on board the issues that are affecting women? Among other things is, can they look at women and any health issues affecting them? Can we have the legal measures that are empowering women to say, if we are here as a women's forum today, what is it that we need the head of state to do for women? We need a woman to be empowered into business and in the normal day-to-day life. And we are willing to write the report to say, we need to be heard. We have been seen, but we need our voices to be heard. We need to be represented. We know that most of the time the head of state are men, but we are saying this time around, here are the brains. We are facilitating of what are the other issues that we feel have been neglected. It's women and disability, women and health, women and education, and other factors that we are saying it's been long enough that they've been discussed but not going deep into them.
Thank you.
Well, it was interesting that what I hope was one of the recommendations in my workshop was that the next CHOGM, in fact, sees the issues from the perspective of women, so that it is time for women to have more leadership positions within the Commonwealth, but also in terms of the positions that are taken to have a more women-focused perspective.
Well, actually Britain is 57th in the world, although we're a developed country. We're way behind a number of other Commonwealth countries, South Africa, Lesotho, and a number of the Caribbean countries. We don't do as well as we should. My party's done better than Britain overall, in that there are 42% of Labour members of Parliament are women, whereas overall in Parliament it's only 30%. But nevertheless, Britain